What's up, everybody? Super Dirks fan here for another update on the Mustang. So, I first want to thank all of you for your support on last week's weekly update, and I really appreciate all the positive comments about that. It was nice, to have the support of most of you, and that's very much appreciated. So thank you, and even some of you, went out of your way to send me messages and everything else. I really do appreciate that. It means a lot. So, update on the Mustang and what's going on with it. Well, it's, of course, an enormous headache like it ever is. I'm assuming with other accidents. This is my first time ever having an accident happen to me, as the driver and having to deal with all this stuff. But it is not fun. So, as far as the Mustang goes and its status, it is not going to be totaled. It's going to be repaired, which I wasn't too bothered by at first, but now I'm wishing it was totaled. So, anyway, the damages, $14,000 worth of damage, and that includes labor and stuff. But yeah, to replace everything and fix everything, $14,000 worth of damage, which shows you just how fast this dude was going on his motorcycle to, slam into me with a, 600cc motorcycle or whatever and do $14,000 worth of damage is kind of crazy. And everyone that sees the car is like, holy crap, I can't believe that a motorcycle did that much damage. Like, it's just like, it's blowing everyone's mind just how badly beat up the car is. And, so yeah, 14,000, and of course, the person who hit me, his insurance, he did have insurance, thank God, but the insurance he had only covers $10,000 of property damage, and since the damage was $14,000, his insurance isn't enough, so my insurance has to come in and pick up the rest of that, which makes the biggest thing that I'm looking after now, diminished value. That makes now it's an enormous headache because everyone's saying, well, we only have 10,000, so we can't reimburse you for diminished value. And my company is saying, well, it's not our problem because, so there's all this stuff. And, other people are saying I need to just go and sue the biker. But, I don't know if I'd be able to get anything that way either, just because, even if I would win something, who knows if they would actually pay. So there's all this headache and I'm currently trying to reach out to a couple attorneys that were recommended to me to get actual legal counsel and go forward with this to make sure that I try not to get screwed financially because of this, because you don't want to I just bought the GT, and of course I just started a brand new loan on it, and I don't want to start off a loan being $7,000 upside down or something because the car has lost $7,000 in value because of the accident. Now, as far as the value of the car, now it's going to have a bad Carfax, and the accident will be on the Carfax, but it will have a clean title still. It's not a salvage or a rebuild title because the car has actually, it hasn't been totaled or anything, so it doesn't have a bad title. The title's fine, it's just the Carfax, but it's still, that's enough to easily knock $5,000 off the value of a car, and so it just really sucks. So I'm trying and hoping that I don't get, financially screwed through this whole thing, because that would be more annoying to me. I mean, the pain that I suffered, last week hurt, and it's a scary memory, but, I'm mostly, better now, and everything is okay, and that's just, a bad memory at this point, and, the wounds have healed mostly, so that's okay. It's now the financial stuff, and, all this headache is the part that actually annoys me more than the actual accident itself. So a couple other things I want to touch on, some common comments that I've gotten that I want to address and things like that. Now, a lot of people were saying they hoped it was totaled, and originally I was kind of indifferent about whether they totaled it or not, simply just because of the fact that the Mustang that I got, I'm very, very picky, and I got exactly what I wanted, and I was lucky to find a leftover 16 that had exactly what I wanted, but I was fortunate enough to find that. Now, there's one that's pretty close, but there really weren't any other ones exactly like mine, so it would have been a pain to change things on whatever new one I would have to buy in order to get it back to what I wanted with mine. So that was kind of one of the headaches there. I wouldn't have even had the option to order a 17 because my color guard has been discontinued for 2017, and so stuff like that, it's just, it would have been a pain as far as that goes to total it. And so I was actually kind of just like, well, if they repair it, that's fine, especially if there's no mechanical damage. That's the one comment. Everyone keeps commenting and saying the car will never be the same. It's always going to be terrible. Things are going to fall apart. The body shop's going to do a terrible job, and everything's just not going to be right. And it's a ruined car. Like, just move on. And then everyone's like, just go buy a Shelby, which I would have just bought 2 weeks ago. If I wanted a Shelby, I would have bought a Shelby. So anyway, as you can tell, I'm slightly annoyed. I'm sorry. It's just been a rough week. So yeah, but I'm fine with them fixing it because it's just cosmetic damage. There is nothing mechanically wrong with the car. There's no frame damage. I'm kind of looking at it as like getting a body kit put on or something. I'm taking panels off and putting new ones on. The only, I guess, mechanical thing you could consider that they are replacing are the two driver's side wheels and tires, just because the one front was actually a chunk of it was taken out from the accident, and the rear one, I guess there was something wrong with that. I didn't see it at the time, but they're replacing that one as well. So, so they're just putting two new wheels and tires on and doing an alignment and balancing them, and that's it. So as long as they can do an alignment, I think the car should drive the same. And otherwise it's just cosmetic stuff. And honestly, the Mustang from the factory isn't perfect with its fit and finish. There's a lot of panel gaps, and they're a little bit sloppy at the factory with the Mustangs. And so honestly, there's been some people that have had their Mustangs fixed by a good body shop, and they said that it looks better than it did whenever it was brand new. So that is actually a possibility. And the body shop I've taken it to, they are extremely good and very, very talented. And they come on high recommendations from people that are way pickier about their cars than I am about mine. So I think I will be happy with the repairs, and there shouldn't be any issues there. So, I mean, like I said, I'm fine with that. And, as long as I plan to keep the car for a long time, even if I don't get the full diminished value, in the end, that would be okay, I suppose. It's certainly not favorable, but it's not the end of the world. But the thing for me is, even back whenever I did my walk-around tour of the GT, I mentioned how I plan to keep it for a long time unless they do a Bullet edition next year. There's a possibility for 2018 being the 50th anniversary of the movie Bullet that they will do a Bullet edition of the Mustang. And mine is pretty close to a Bullet edition, but not an actual Bullet. So if a Bullet did come out, I would absolutely want to buy one. And so that is where I'm potentially, getting nervous about getting financially screwed. If I'm $7,000 upside down and, next year comes and an awesome Bullet comes out and I'm like, oh crap, well I can't get it because I'm still super underwater on this loan. And so that's kind of my concern. That's why the thing that I'm 100% most focused on is the diminished value. The car will be fine. It'll be fixed. I believe it will drive well and be just as good as it was, whenever I first got it a week before. So I'm not actually concerned about the car, honestly. That's the least of my concerns. My concern right now is the financial standpoint of it all and trying to get that all figured out. And like I said, it's just a pain working with insurance companies and doing all that kind of stuff. And so that is the current agony that I'm going through, is doing that stuff. But once again, it could have been much worse. I'm grateful that, the injuries that me and my wife sustained were very minor, and that the car will be fixable and be able to live another day, because I think it deserves to have a good life, even though it was hit, unfortunately by no fault of its own. So I want to, still have fun with the car. I think it deserves that. And so I'm actually glad that it's getting fixed. But of course, it would have been easier if they would have totaled it, because then I would just say, all right, well, I'll just go buy another Guard 16 that's left over somewhere else. And that way the insurance company wouldn't be able to fight it. They'd be like, oh, it's totaled. Okay, here's your check. Go get a new car, and that would have been it. And the funny thing is, if I would have kept the EcoBoost 8 days longer, and the EcoBoost was the one that got hit, that, since it's worth so much less, the EcoBoost was worth $21,000, that would have almost certainly been totaled, I think, if that had gone through the same thing. So it's just, an unfortunate combination of circumstances and everything, and it's just a huge pain. So but like I said, could have been worse. It's still not enjoyable. So that is the whole update on the Mustang. Again, please, positive stuff is appreciated. I don't want people, just tearing down the car and saying the car is going to be crappy now and all this kind of stuff. I'm trying to stay positive through this whole thing as best as possible. And so I appreciate your support through all of that as well. So thank you guys very much for watching, and I'll see you next time. Take care.